Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena. I'm the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. And the neighborhood dogs have decided to start serenading as soon as I hit record. That's just kind of the way it always goes. I had a quick minute for my kids where they were sitting quietly, and I thought, now's my chance to share a couple of things with you. And then the dogs were like, our turn. So I'm sorry. But I did want to sit down and share with you a couple of things that I wish that I knew as a homeschool newbie, or even just, I would say, reminders that I need to tell myself every now and again as a homeschool, I guess, veteran, you would say. This is our 11th year of homeschooling, and I have 3 kids, like I said, that we homeschool. My oldest is in the 11th grade, and if you're doing the math, he started his 1st grade year of school. That's when we pulled him out from public school. I have a daughter who is 5th grade, and then I have a special needs son who is kind of in our 2nd grade year. It's kind of a hybrid with both my littles, actually. But that probably could be the first thing that I talk about as something that I wish I knew as a homeschool newbie. And things that I have to remind myself of is that I don't need to catch up to anybody else. I don't need to make my school look like public schools. As I said, we pulled our oldest out as he was going into 1st grade, and we decided to homeschool then. We very much feel like that's where the Lord led us, and that was a decision that we made as a family, me, my husband, my son, and we had some terrific friends at that time around us that were supportive. And so it was a decision we prayed over, and that's when we decided to just start our homeschool journey. I think I have a video somewhere on here where I talk more about that journey. If ever you wanted to see that, I will try to link it in the description box below. But what I would tell you is that first year, I looked up what a schedule in 1st grade looked like, because we were finishing our schoolwork so early, and I thought, surely I must be doing something wrong because he would still be at school at this time. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to have some really great homeschooling friends at that time around me, and one friend was like, oh no, it's totally normal for you to be done by lunchtime. In fact, you should be done by lunchtime if you're starting first thing in the morning. But I found that a lot of time the teachers are waiting for the other students to catch up. They have to leave room for students' attention spans and things like that. So while some students may finish earlier and some may finish later, that's a lot of that time is blocked off. So to kind of get that average medium, I think of that. And when I looked up the public schedule, that's what that was. And so because I only had one student, I could go at his pace. And that was such a blessing for us doing homeschool, because we could do as little or as much as we wanted of a certain subject. If he really was enjoying one subject, we could spend more time on it and not have to worry about a time schedule or keeping somebody else behind or trying to keep up with somebody else. So I really wish I would have known that it doesn't need to look like public school, both in timing and in our area. So I know for sure there is another video on here as well about the different spaces that we homeschool at. You can homeschool just about anywhere. I have seen road schoolers be successful where you're out on the road and you're doing school just more hands-on and things like that. I have seen homeschoolers that will do really, really well. They thrive with a desk and a more typical setup that way. And we've gone through our seasons of just about everything. We've had some seasons where we were unsure. We've had some seasons where our homeschool year started in one state and ended in another, and then and same with a home where we started in one space and by the end of the school year we were in another space. So we have done just very bare bones schooling, and then we have been able to fully set up a school space and have that as well. So anywhere in between and all of those things will work. And so it doesn't need to look like what you think a typical school needs to look like. You can make it work in whatever space you have available. I think that's something that is a good reminder for me even now. Another thing that I think would be a great tip is to be reminded that every child is going to learn differently. Even in our little home, in our little family, we have 3 kiddos, and each one of them learns a little bit differently, and it changes. So things that worked for my son, my oldest son, worked when he was younger have switched up a little bit as he's gotten older. Things that worked for my special needs son last year don't work this year for him. And so it's okay to change with your child. It's okay to switch things up. You don't have to be concrete in how you start school and say, this is how our routine and this is what we stick with and this is what we're going to do from now until we graduate. That would be awesome if that is the environment your child thrives in and can do it, but I find that children change. Much like adults, we change from season to season and year to year, and things happen, and things that used to work for us don't work anymore, and that's okay to switch it up. So knowing that it's okay to switch things up every now and again as needed. Another thing is you don't need all the curriculum. I remember being fortunate enough to be able to go to a couple of homeschool conventions, some really big ones, and seeing all of this different kind of curriculum and just things all presented to you, which can be both helpful but oversaturating at the same time too. It can almost be overwhelming because everyone seems to have their really great perks about it and really great ideas and things that come to the table. And so you want to try them all, and it can be hard and it can be confusing, and like I said, it can be overwhelming just trying to pick one or narrow it down. But much like your kids changing throughout the years, you may want to change your curriculum too. And you don't have to do one whole curriculum for all of the subjects. You could, like I said, it's really nice and easy to get a full box set and have everything laid out for you in there with all the subjects in it. Things like Bookshark or Sunlight Curriculum, they do a full box set, and you can just order the entire year and have all your subjects laid out and everything is in there. And we have used both of those curriculums throughout our homeschool journey. One year, in fact, I think we did do a complete box set. I'm trying to remember. One year I think we did, but we ended up supplementing and pulling things out because that's just how it worked for us. And that was okay. I started out with one curriculum that we don't use at all anymore, and I think that curriculum is still great. It just doesn't work for our family anymore. We are kind of an eclectic homeschoolers, I would call us, in that we pull and pick from different curriculum companies and things like that and just see what works best for our family. Especially for my youngest son who is on the spectrum, I find that I have to be really creative with his work because he gets bored easily. So he will very rarely make it through an entire curriculum in the year. Oftentimes I am switching things up and layering things in that are teaching the same foundations and principles at the same time, but it's a different curriculum and it's a different style so that he can stay motivated to do the work. So please don't feel pressured that your curriculum isn't working anymore, or that you need to have this curriculum because everybody is using this curriculum, or it feels like everyone is using this curriculum. It's okay to change. And in fact, the change may be just that breath that you need to take in your homeschool to make it work again for you. Another thing I wish I would have realized or I knew is that I would be learning along with my children. There is so much that, because we get to pick our curriculum and we get to dive in deeper where we want to. For example, my oldest son is especially drawn to marine biology, and we have just learned over the years so many fascinating things about the oceans and about the creatures that live in there, and there is just this plethora of information that is fascinating to me, and he will recite things back to me, and I am just amazed and wowed by, one, the information that he can retain when it's something that interests your child, and two, fascinated by this world and what God has created and how much learning I can do going alongside my children in this journey. We have picked up history books that have been fascinating. We have looked into Bible studies for our family, and it's just been enlightening and enriching, and things that your children will, insights that they have and will share with you. It is just amazing to see, and really it is so fun to learn alongside them. There's so much that I went to public school, and there's so much I feel like I missed going to school, even things that I know I probably should have known that were probably on test exams and things like that, but escaped me after many years. I am relearning with them, and it's just so fun to do. And along with that, how fun this journey can be. I'm not going to lie and tell you that there aren't going to be hard days. There are for sure going to be hard days, but there are going to be days where the moments just make it so sweet and so precious. Getting to be the one that sits beside your child as they finally break their reading code and they are picking up more words or sounding out things, or when you hit something that's really tough and you finally get that breakthrough, that aha moment when they understand it, and you get to be there with them and watch that and be the one that's teaching alongside them, is amazing and so fun. And I can only imagine how many memories we are building for them as we walk this journey with them. So I think I wish I would have realized more at the beginning of my journey that the time that I'm putting into this is never wasted. It is never something that I feel I'm going to regret. This will always be something that I feel has been well invested, and just something that our family has been so blessed to be able to do. So I don't ever want to forget that, but also I think I wish I would have realized that a little bit more at the beginning. And then lastly, I know I have mentioned this before on the channel, but as I began my homeschool journey, I had a homeschool mama tell me that no one is going to love your children more than you. And so no one is going to want the absolute best for your child more than you. So more than likely, no one will work as hard for your children like you will. Do not talk yourself out of this if you are feeling led to it. Do not let the doubts speak louder than your truths. Do not let the lack of a degree or the lack of funding even deter you from homeschooling. There are a lot of different ways to go about it. It doesn't have to look like everybody else's homeschool. And truly, because we love our children so much and we want the absolute best for them, we're willing to invest so much into them. I think that there have been seasons where we have had extra funds, and there have been seasons where it was a very, very tight shoestring budget, but you can make it work. For us, we always pray over our school year, and then we kind of dive in. I will continually look for used curriculum if I can and things like that. If you want to hear more about how we kind of go about getting our curriculum and picking it out, let me know and I can do a different video on that. But I just wanted to mention that it was such great advice and so good to hear that when I felt unqualified and uncalled, that my friend was able to sit down and speak wisdom into me and tell me and remind me that no, if this is truly what I'm feeling called to do, if this is truly what my family is wanting to do, then it is possible, and that I can be the best teacher for my child. So just wanted to leave you on that note and let you know that if you are on this journey, be encouraged. We are all here with you. I love that this homeschool community kind of cheers one another on, and we can just uplift and motivate and be a community on the harder days. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, if you don't know or you just need to be reminded, may be the one to tell you that you are deeply and truly loved and so, so appreciated. I really appreciate you taking your time out and spending it here with me and apparently the neighborhood dogs as they sang alongside. Thanks so much for watching.